and welcome to the second episode of the No Days Off podcast. This is the podcast where we showcase the completely insane that reflect their lifestyle using dedication, motivation, discipline, and consistency to achieve their goals and why they're successful within their field. Today, I have with me a complete bundle of joy, killing it in the weight loss game, going from 240 pounds to 190 pounds, spreading her positivity through social media platforms, as well as addressing hot topics such as mental health. I am greeted by the gorgeous and magnificent, top of the morning to your sunshine at the end of the rainbow, Therese Callahan. How are you? What have you been doing?
Okay, where do we even start? Life has just been lifing recently, I guess. I'm working away, coaching, influencing, as we like to say. It's not my favourite word, but we'll use that. And yeah, just kind of stepped into the fitness space over a year ago, and since then things have kind of been a bit crazy.
I think, I feel like people get the ick when they use the term influencer, but I see it as it's like a badge of honor, and I think that you should wear it with honor, to be an influencer, because as much as, I remember Rihanna was saying once that she didn't want to be like a role model, but you're in a position where you do get to inspire many, and kind of, unlike Rihanna, she's a bit of a she's a bit of a hit and a miss with the way that she inspires people, but you're out here online actually putting out positive content. And for me, it's nice to see content in the fitness space that isn't necessarily provocative or sexualized, and you're actually empowering women to be their best selves in a really positive way, and in a more like an old school fashion feminine way as well. So yeah, I think to start off as well, I thought that we can go into some gym pet peeves. I was on the way here and I was kind of thinking about it, and I was getting so worked up because of my session yesterday. So yeah, what are your gym pet peeves?
I really don't like when it's so generic, but I really don't like when people don't re-rack the weights. Why are you leaving it all messy? Do you know what I mean? I'm having to come back, try to set up for my own session, but I'm having to clean up after you as well. So that would definitely be one of my main ones.
I mean, sometimes do you know what's actually really stressful? I will say, sometimes I can be guilty of that, because if I have to do a leg press, sometimes I've got 7 plates either side of the leg press. So usually it's I'll be nice and I'll leave 2 on there.
That's okay. That's fine.
Because I'm usually people are capable of 2.
No, that's okay. I'm talking about when you're just finished with your set and you're just you're firing stuff on the floor and just not picking it back up. I'm pick it back up, put it back where you found it.
It's a health and safety risk.
Do you know what I mean?
I've tripped over many a times.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
broken toes.
That would definitely be one. And pet peeves. What else? To be honest, I don't think I've got loads. That's my main one. I think it's more I'm just in the zone. I think maybe as well, whenever someone doesn't get the hint that I don't want to keep chatting, that's probably a pet peeve. So it's I'm naturally a chatter anyways, but there's some days where I'm just I'm trying to just get my session done. Let's leave it be. But other than that,
I give myself the ick sometimes how much I talk. And the thing is, as well, as I try to look as anti as possible in the gym so that people don't approach me. But no, it's nice to have a nice community feel. I think for me, my pet peeve, do you know what? It's not even a pet peeve. I have a peeve of a person. I have a person on my hit list.
Okay.
And I call him Tarzan. He doesn't know this. So he has the tendency to steal my weights when I'm mid-set.
Oh, one of those.
And he doesn't ask.
Okay.
My pet peeve is people not asking.
Yeah.
He waits for me to be in the set. So I'll be in the squat rack or the Smith machine, and I literally bar and back, go down to squat, and he's there scurrying like a little thief. Yeah. And the other day I just had enough. I popped.
You were like, no, Tarzan, enough.
I was like, who raised you? Because I'm not having it. Just have some gym etiquette.
Yeah, I hear it. Yeah.
Just literally reminds me of, yes, that's mine. Or people being overly loud.
There's no need for it. There's no need for the screaming. Do you know what I mean?
It's just It's embarrassing when they're not lifting much as well.
Yeah, to be fair, I'm not gonna judge. If you need to scream, you do your thing. But sometimes it's like the whole gym's listening to you right now. Do you know what I mean?
So enough about my pet peeves. Let's talk a bit about your journey. I want to know when the weight loss kind of started, and let's take it way back. Growing up, were you a chubby kid?
Same.
Yeah, I know from
Sad.
yeah. I always say now, character building at its finest. You grow up like chubby, overweight, whatever. It's character building. Like I've got some funny stories. They're funny to me now, but back then, like they're not so funny. But yeah, I always knew that I looked different than my friends. Put it that way. So I never was thin. I've never felt thin in my whole life. I still don't feel thin to this day, but
Girl, you look fantastic.
it's a different it's on a different scale. But yeah, growing up I was chubby.
How did that like affect you in school? So say for instance, like for me, it was really weird. When I was a bit younger, I wasn't really chubby. When I got into secondary school and puberty hit, it's like I just woke up one day, it was like,
Yeah.
oh, so that's where the cakes went.
I think it all played a massive part in my self-confidence and my demeanor. I was funny and like class clown, but that was because that was to take away from the fact that I looked different. So like, let me be an entertainer so I don't have to come back to the fact that I look different. If I can make people laugh, then maybe, you're not gonna judge me in that way. And if I can kind of take the piss out of myself first before you do, then I'm ahead of you, that kind of way. So it was just little things like I couldn't share clothes with my friends. I would feel anxious if, like I spilled something on my trousers and I was at a birthday party and I'd be like, well, nobody else's clothes is going to fit me. Or that idea of like embarrassment as well. When you're a child and you go to like swimming lessons in school and you have to be in your swimming suit in front of other people. It's like that like god awful like lump in your throat of, oh my god, everyone's going to see everything that I'm insecure about. And it's sad because nobody sees your insecurities except for you. Like, and nobody at that age is thinking about, oh, your cellulite or the fact that your legs are a little bit chubbier. It's you. Do you know what I mean? It's just you. But at that age, you don't know any different. So I think, yeah, growing up, it definitely would have affected my self-confidence, the way I viewed myself. And obviously then, moving into teenage years and becoming an adult, as we like to call it, I would have seek then validation from external things because I wasn't happy with who I was and myself. So it all kind of played a factor. And then obviously being introduced to diet culture at such a young age of like 11, that just totally warped my whole perception on food and exercise and what I was supposed to eat and what I wasn't supposed to eat. And I was just taught the wrong things.
What were you eating at about 11? Like, so what diet culture were you exposed to? Because I remember a girl in my year, it must have been about, probably around the same age, like maybe like 12 years old, and she was doing Special K.
I was doing Slimming World at like 11, 12, 13. And it makes me so mad because why are you allowing like me to be in your club? And I wanted
so true.
I wanted to go with my mum. Like, and my mum was always great. Like, she was so supportive. She just like kind of took me along. But why are you sitting there like educating me about stuff that isn't even factual? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that totally warped my whole obviously perception on the way I viewed things. So yeah, I'm like 11, 12, 13. I'm in secondary school doing Slimming World, just like making sure none of my friends find out that I'm doing it because it would be embarrassing, and trying to restrict myself from food throughout the day at school because there wasn't overly a lot of things that I could eat. It was like free foods and all this kind of stuff. So it was like a constant weight on my shoulders that I have to do this in order to look like everybody else. And I just, at that time, especially early teenager, I just so desperately wanted to look like my friends. So I was willing to kind of just do anything, but it never worked. It was that whole idea of yo-yo, back and forward, binge, restrict. And yeah, that went on for many years.
How did then kind of getting a little bit older into late teens, how did that then affect you mentally? Like, what was your relationship like with food before kind of the diet phase? So were you just naturally, say, for instance, a chubby kid, or did you say that it was more of a genetic thing, or what was your relationship like before the diet phase?
I don't know if I'd say it was a genetic thing. My family, I wouldn't say like my family's an overweight family, and I wouldn't say I was like really, really heavy. I just knew I was like chubbier. I maybe just held more weight than what my siblings would have, so I would have like been larger as well.
My sister was a rake.
Yeah, my sister till this day, she's gorgeous. She's like, you know, she's thin. She's literally drop dead gorgeous, and I used to be like, Mommy, like, why don't I look like her?
Are you older or younger than her?
I'm younger.
See, I have twin sisters.
Okay.
And they're very opposite though, so they're not identical. And one of them growing up was very, very thin. I don't know if I'm supposed to say this on camera. She's not as thin now. Love you. But she was she was so super, super thin. But I don't think her relationship with food was that great either, because she didn't eat a lot when she was younger. But I was the same. Like, I would look at her like, and she was so popular in school, and everybody thought that she was like the bee's knees, and I was just like, she was like a mixed race Barbie doll, like my version of Black Barbie, you know. And I was just like, it's not fair.
Yeah.
And I used to hate it.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't know if I would say it's genetic, but moving into then like later early adulthood or late teenager, whatever you want to call it, I was able to turn to other things like, you know, alcohol along with the food. So it was like an increasingly worse cycle for my health, because the alcohol was taken away from the way that I felt about myself, and then the next day I would feel shit, and then my comfort was food. So then that led into my binge eating. How old were you when you started? Sorry to interrupt. How old were you when you started drinking? Like probably 15.
Okay.
It's pretty normal in Ireland though.
It's like, pretty normal here, to be
fair.
It's
It's pretty standard. It's just kind of like, okay, you do that at that age. So I would have been introduced to alcohol like at 15, and yeah, from there it just, for the moment, it numbed how I felt, put it that way.
Did you like the person that you were when you were drunk?
Loved her. Like,
loved her.
Not gonna lie. It's funny because I always look back, like, I always say now, the memories I had when I was going on nights out and like doing stupid things, I would never take them back because I had so many fun days. Love her. She was confident, like in that moment she was funny. Like, I was doing silly shit as you should be doing when you're that age. So yeah, it was fun, but obviously to a certain degree you find out things about yourself, and the next day is more of like the, okay, I'm back to reality now.
Hangover anxiety is not a thing. Like, it's not the one.
No,
like, you know, I have anxiety on a normal day. Put alcohol in my body, and I'm that person. I think like people are plotting against me, like to like try plan my death. Like, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm so paranoid it's unhealthy. I think for me that's why I just don't do it. I don't know, like, I think maybe it's because I don't drink a lot. So even if I have like a glass of alcohol, like, which I do on occasion, it's just like it possesses my brain.
Yeah, you're like, nope, this is not for me.
What was then, I guess, dating like in that time?
Oh, non-existent, girl. Ireland it is dry up in here. No. At that age, at that time in my life, like boys and that aspect, I was super unconfident. Like,
was that because of the weight?
Yeah, the weight, and just because I never would have thought anyone would have found me pretty or attractive, and I just wouldn't have bothered. And then as I grew up a little bit, and you know, you go out and you're drunk, someone might speak to you and you're kind of like, oh, it gives you that little boost, like, oh, he thinks I'm pretty. Or somebody might text you and say like, oh, you looked nice in this picture. And I thrived off of that shit. I liked that someone might find me pretty or attractive, and I needed that from someone else because at the time I couldn't give it to myself.
Yeah.
I could never have looked in the mirror and been like, yeah, you look really pretty today. It was never that. I needed to hear it from somebody else in order to feel validated. But I wouldn't say even dating wise, I never really dated in Ireland. I had a boyfriend in Ireland, but I wouldn't say like dating as a scene wasn't really a thing. You don't like go on dates per se. It's more like, do you want to come for a spin in my car?
That's like the equivalent to Netflix and chill, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I hear you. And I guess when you're younger, it's a bit different because as well, it's like you don't really have the money to be like kind of date. No, I understand what you mean. Would you say that did you end up in any kind of toxic relationships because of that? You didn't have that self-validation? Because I feel like sometimes I've seen people, you know, they find comfort in somebody else because of the way that they make them feel. And they might not necessarily love that person. They love how they feel with that person.
I wouldn't say per se any toxic relationships, but I definitely, when I came over to London, I was still like in the early phases of like getting into the fitness space. And I remember there was one guy that I just like thrived off. Like, I'm obviously looking back now, I'm like, he was so bad for me. Like,
everything was wrong.
Like, there were so many red flags, but it was the way that he made me feel and the validation. And then they also, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like, you know, when they give you enough and then they pull back again, and then I'm addicted to what you've given me.
Women, we're just sick. Like, we're actually, I don't know what it is about us, because I feel like we all go through one phase as women in our life where it's like someone will give you all the red flags and we're just like, but I can change him.
Yeah.
But he'll change for me.
Yeah.
It's like, no, he's just
he's a walking red flag.
There's what we remember, but for some I think that always comes from the time that we are in our lives, though.
Yeah.
You know, like sometimes we could be a little bit more sensitive and a little bit more about. We can be taken for granted sometimes, but you just gotta, I don't know, maybe it's a learning experience because it doesn't kill you, makes you stronger.
Absolutely. Yes, we love that. But I also think, depending on how you're feeling, the same type of people will probably show up. Like,
so true.
Because I was quite low and I needed that validation from someone. I wasn't standing in my own power at the time. I wasn't aware of who I was or what I stood for. That anything was just kind of siphoning through, and that's kind of when those toxic relationships as such would start. But apart from that, I wouldn't say I've had any overly toxic relationships because of anything else. I genuinely have really good people in my life, and like my family and my friends were super supportive. It was just like me and my own things that I had to work through, but I have a really good group of people behind me, which I'm very grateful for.
So what would you say then was the cause of the drinking? Was it just that you just didn't like the body that you were in?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say the sole purpose of it was because I didn't like my body and who I was. That was definitely an aspect, but there was also the aspect of I'm young and everyone else is doing it, and
almost didn't know better.
Yeah, it's like it was normal, but part of it for me was obviously the aspect of this takes me away from what I think about myself for at least a night. You know, I can just be fun and be a girl, and somebody might give me attention, and somebody in the club might look at me and be like, oh, she's pretty, and that was just nice enough for a night.
It's a nice little pick me up, you know.
It was a pick me up, but then again, that was becoming something that I needed then every week. So I would get excited for, let me just get through Monday to Friday, and then let me get back on it on Saturday. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, it's you needed to be able to find the energy and the love to give you that yourself every week.
Yeah.
Would you say that society glorifies drink culture?
Oh, absolutely. And that's what I'm saying, it's so heavily normalised in this day and age that nobody really questions it. And especially maybe back then, it's deemed cool. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, we're all drinking, like, and we're young and we're underage, it's cool, and that's the thing to do. Everyone's going to do that. But I think now it's definitely moving in the right direction. Like, there's a lot more sobriety going on, and there's a lot more people that are sober curious. Even like non-alcoholic beverages in like bars, it is kind of being pushed a little bit more, and I think it's great. It's moving in the right direction. And I think our generation, I can't remember what the statistic is. Is that the right way to say it? Is we're one of the most generations that are into our health and fitness. So I think we're maybe coming away from, you know, alcoholism as such. Obviously, it's still very prominent and it's a huge social aspect of people's lives. But I do think it's being pushed in the right direction, and we are a generation that do like to look after ourselves. And I think more people are coming aware that I don't actually maybe need alcohol. I know a lot of people that are like sober and, you know, don't really feel the need to drink anymore. So I think that's really good.
The drink culture, the way it's portrayed on social media or even just in films, like I remember growing up watching films, and you could go all those American high school films, and it was all about house parties and stuff, and that's what they showcase. And you know, it is fun, and you know, I've done it, and I've done house parties, and I'm not saying that, you know, you shouldn't go through, I want to be careful what I say. I'm not saying that you shouldn't party as a kid or as a teenager, but I don't think that you need to party at that age with alcohol. Like, you're so full of energy at that age and full of life anyway. Like, why do you need it, like, kind of so young? And I just think it's scary, because I've witnessed a lot of teenagers, especially when I was in sixth form, that throw their lives away because of drink culture, and they mess it all up just through
I get you. Yeah, I think it's one of them things where, like you said, I think you do have to go through it, and I would never, that's what I'm saying, I'm never encouraging you to, you know, underage drink or whatever, but naturally we have to be aware of this day and age. It's probably going to happen. You're going to have to go through your phase of it, and I always say I would never change my past ever, because everything added up and took me to where I am now. But I think just always check in with yourself. If you're, you know, drinking constantly and whatever, just maybe ask yourself why, and just ensure that you're drinking for the right reasons and that you're doing it safely and appropriately.
In moderation, like everything.
As we like to say.
You know?
It doesn't always work, but
just make good choices. That's what we like to tell ourselves.
That's all from
Have
us.
sensible fun. So when did you decide that enough was enough?
So obviously yo-yo dieting majority of my teenage years, up and down, and I put on a lot of weight. I refused to weigh myself, and
you hated the scale.
I couldn't. Nope. I was like, I'm not doing that, because it's going to send me into a spiral. I was like, I'm not doing it. I can't do this. So I was out one night and drinking as per, absolutely shit-faced, as we like to call
Tuesday.
it. Yeah. Your average week. And I was being sick into the toilet in a nightclub, and something just kind of clicked. I was like, what are you doing? Like, this is not you.
And was this in Ireland or in London?
This was in Ireland.
Okay.
I was like, this is not you. Like, I don't like who I am. It was just like, it's so ironic, just like head in a bowl, being sick, and I'm just like, girl, there's more. And it was just, something just kind of clicked, and I just remember kind of feeling there's more for me here than this.
Yeah.
And
how long ago was that?
That was probably well over 2.5 years ago. Maybe 2, yeah, in and
around lockdown, kind of just after we were coming out of it. Yeah.
And yeah, I was just like, there's more for me. I can feel that there's more, and this is not the path that I want to continue on, because I know if this is all that I do, I'm going to end up being a person that I absolutely hate. So yeah, it was kind of like a light bulb moment, and I always say it didn't just change overnight from there.
It is long.
It didn't just stop.
Do you know when you're just fat? Right. Moving that body is the hardest thing. Like, people actually don't understand. Like, you know what it was? I was in Zara.
Yeah.
Couldn't I literally spent half an hour trying to find something to wear in Zara. Yeah. I couldn't fit in anything. Yeah. I was like, and I was sizing up. And so, to be fair, to give us some credit, Zara's sizes are off.
Yeah. Yep. I will back you for that.
So I feel like as a bigger girl, you're only like kind of gonna make yourself feel worse by stepping into Zara. But I love Zara. So, and I was there, and I was just like, and I remember trying to stuff myself like into these jeans, and I just looked at myself and I was like, who is she? I don't recognize this I got so frustrated and mad. I was like, who is this person?
Yeah.
And I went home and I was so harsh to myself, but I was like, listen here, you fat I was like, listen here, I don't know who you are, but I don't want to see you ever again. I was like, ever. And I made that promise to myself.
Yeah.
But in lockdown I had no gym and I was used to weight training.
Yeah.
So trying to like do HIIT or walk or even run when you're that size is a lot.
Yeah.
And you know, and you feel like it is gonna take, it feels, every day feels like a year.
I hear it.
And you're there every day looking at yourself in the mirror like, am I skinny yet? Am I skinny yet?
Is it finished yet? Are we done yet?
I'm like, I sneeze, they see one out. So, you know, you're throwing up in a bowl in a toilet. You decide that you deserve better. So what did you do? Where did it all begin? What changes did you make?
I had tried so many different things for so long, and I remember just saying to myself, I'm just gonna start doing little things that make me feel better.
Yeah.
And it was so, like, I mean, it was so minute, the steps that I was taking, because I was still in Ireland at this time. I was still going out, like every so often. I did dial it down a little bit because I was due to move over to London and I was trying to save money. So that was definitely a factor that helped. And I kind of had to start working on my actual relationship that I had with food. So that was like starting point for me. It wasn't just, okay, I'm going to do this next diet. I had to actually say to myself, what is going on with your relationship with food? Why are you fearing this food? Why are you restricting this food? And I kind of started researching a little bit here and there. I would hear certain things online. I started following people that were actually like factual based. And
Who was like, your go-to person? Because everyone has one.
Sean Casey Fitness.
I don't know that one.
He's huge now. His stuff was really, really good in lockdown, and he kind of just brought like a new like light to it, and I was kind of like, oh.
Yeah, I like a bit of that. It's
yeah,
a bit of me.
So shout out to him. That kind of just little bits like that started kind of getting me into it. And then before I obviously moved to London, then I was just doing little bits. I got myself into the gym for the first time because I was working out from home for so long because I didn't want anyone to see me working out. Finally got myself a gym membership and was doing little bits here and there.
Had you lost a substantial amount of weight before you started the gym?
No.
Okay.
See, this is the thing. I was very up and down. So yes, I'd lost weight before, but that was through home workouts. I gained a lot of weight back and just thought, I'm gonna go to the gym and try it and see, because I was so afraid. But I was like, I need to push myself out of my comfort zone. Let me just get uncomfortable. And I remember it was so overwhelming and like horrible going to the gym for the first time.
How did you overcome your gym anxiety? Because I feel like a lot of people struggle with that.
I feel like it is one of them things that I always say this to my clients. It's like driving a car, right? You get into the car for the first time and you're like, what is this? I don't know how to do this. How do I drive? You're nervous. It's overwhelming. You're going to make mistakes. You might bump. It's fine. But the more you do it, the more you get yourself into that space, the more you drive, the easier it's going to become. And over time, you're driving along and you don't even think about driving, right? You're playing music. You're like taking a drink of something, you're waving to your next door neighbour, whatever it might be. Driving then just becomes something you don't even think about. And I always say it's kind of the same with the gym. The more you do it, the more you get in there, the easier it will become in that space, and it'll become familiar to you. And you know your surroundings, you know how things work, you know your people, you get your community. It's one of them things that will take time, and gym anxiety is not going to go away overnight. I still get anxious if I go to different gyms sometimes and having to take out a tripod or just not being sure of how equipment works. I still get that little feeling, but I always resort back to the thing of, it's fine, everyone's a beginner at one point, and just take a breath and you're good. And yeah, it was just one of them things I really had to talk myself through, that it's okay to be anxious. I'm a beginner, I'm brand new at something. Nobody expects me to know absolutely everything, and I didn't know everything. I still don't know everything, but it's just one of them things that the gym is a space that is welcome and open to everyone. Don't feel anxious to get in there because you think you look different. Everybody has the right to be in a gym environment, and I'm such an advocate for that, because I think it's so horrible that people have to stay. They feel like they have to stay away from the gym because of the way that they look.
That's my mum.
Yeah.
God.
It's sad because I felt like that. It's just like, you deserve to look after yourself, to exercise, to move your body regardless of the way that you look. So take it one day at a time, and that's what I did. Literally just said to myself, one day at a time. If I can get into the gym today, great, that's a win, and I'll try again and I'll go tomorrow. So taking it one day at a time.
So your first experience, how many times did you step in and continue going, or did you step in and it was like, whoa?
To be fair, I stepped in and it wasn't like an overly busy gym. It was kind of nice.
Yeah.
And it wasn't any high tech equipment. It was just your average couple of squat racks, dumbbells, couple of machines.
So you felt pretty comfortable.
I felt comfortable, and
Yeah.
I was like, okay, this is nice. I can kind of get used to this. And then I kind of fell away from it again, and maybe just did a little bit of walking. My real transition happened when I came to London. Someone
just clicked.
Something flipped. I don't know what was going on, but I remember.
You came to London and was like, came to London and some energy hit you like, I'm going to be an influencer. Don't know what to do.
Don't know where it's coming from.
Yeah, so what's going on? Like the essence, you just stepped in London and was like, influencer.
Something just flipped whenever I got here. I think it was the idea that I had to be independent now. Like, my mum's not there, I'm paying bills, I'm looking after myself, I have to buy my own food. Something just clicked whenever I came over here, and then I started the 75 soft challenge. That was kind of my gateway into social media and documenting my fitness journey for people to see.
So when did your no days off mindset kind of start into that transition?
Yeah, it was that challenge. I had moved over here July time of, what year are we in? 2024? We're now in 2024?
So old.
Oh my god. I think I moved over 2022, I'm gonna say.
How old are you now, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 22 now. Yeah.
Wow.
So I'd moved over
I'm
when
old.
I had just turned 21. So I'd moved over for a couple of months, and I think it was October time or something like that there, November. I said, I'm going to do this challenge. I want to do this challenge for myself. It seems doable, manageable, and I'm going to document it, because it was more so me keeping myself accountable to something. And I was just recording little bits in the gym with my water bottle. Like, my phone was up against the water bottle.
Do you know what? I think that's a really good way to lose weight as well, because like if you're starting to document your journey, you're like, I actually have to show up.
Yeah.
Because people want to see me change. So it's like, imagine just recording yourself every day. You just didn't lose weight. Like it wouldn't be. Oh, that's so rude. Someone's loud. Can you hear that? Anyway, this happened last time. There's always a base somewhere. But yeah, like I feel like if anyone wants to lose weight, just get your tripod out and start posting online, because you will have to make a miraculous transformation.
Yeah. So it was like my little TikTok like diary basically, and it all just started on TikTok. It was just silly little videos. I was like, I'll post one every day, and I would get messages, just like the odd little one here and there, like being like, I love your videos. It's like, I followed you from day one and we're on day like 45 now. And I'm like,
so you posted every day?
I posted for the challenge every day.
Wow.
And I loved it. Something just like,
it made you happy.
Something fired up in me. I was like, what is this feeling? And I remember thinking, I'm getting excited to go to the gym. And
I love that.
I'd never felt like that before.
Yeah.
And I think it was because I was doing something I'd never done before. I was training on my own terms. I wasn't following the next best booty guide or,
What type of training were you
HIIT
doing?
class. Resistance training, running. I got into running on the treadmill a little bit, and I was just moving my body to move my body. There was no, I need to do this, I need to do that. I was like, let me explore the gym. Like, I had to work out for 45 minutes every single day. I had time. I had lots of time to learn. Let me walk around, see what's going on. What does this machine do? I didn't have a structure, but I loved it. I was just figuring things out. And I think that's where my love...
That's the best time though.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not even gonna lie. I do miss the days where I just like didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
Like, I was so kind of like fascinated to... Even now, like, I'm still working on my form and stuff, and it's exciting, but now when I train, it's for sport.
Yeah.
And there's so much pressure that comes behind like training in the way that I train. Like, I miss just kind of sometimes going to the gym and having fun.
Yeah.
And just being like, oh, there's a new machine here today. Like, what's that for? And then just pressing about on it for ages, and just, kind of learning about yourself.
Yeah.
And I encourage people to play when they go to the gym, because that's what it is, right? It's almost like an adult playground.
Yes, absolutely. Like, be silly. Go and be silly in the gym. Like, there's multiple occasions I've dropped stuff, I fell over stuff, I've broke things. It's funny. Like, go and mess around, see what's happening. You're there to work on yourself, and just don't take it so seriously.
It's literally, you will learn so much about yourself by going to the gym. Like, and it won't always be sunshine and rainbows either. You know, you're gonna have to address some things, but the best place to do it is in the gym. It is therapy. And, you know, sometimes you are gonna look silly. Even now, like, the amount of times I have to lift up a cable and I can't do it, and people are just like, do you need a hand? I'm like, I've got this. Done this many a times. Let me have the win. So yeah, I think people take it too seriously now. Like, they see everything on social media and they think they've got to be perfect, but you don't know how many takes it took for that person to get that video. I can guarantee, like, the majority of videos that you see out there, someone would record something, come back, be like, oh, my form is slightly off then, and they'll do it again just for the video. Like, you're not always going to be perfect, and you'll grow and you'll be happy with those accomplishments of seeing where you started to then where your journey ends up. And, you know, but you've got to start in order to get there. So start, mess up, embarrass yourself, and then look like a boss bitch. That's kind of it. What was the first video that kind of went viral then?
There was a couple of little ones trickling on TikTok of the challenge that just like spiked here and there, and then after I'd finished the challenge, I took a couple of videos to Instagram. I was like, I'm just throw it out there. I never thought, like, I always said this hand on heart, I never thought I'd fall into doing what I'm doing now. Not a clue. I just thought I'm just gonna post silly videos on TikTok and hold myself accountable. I pushed a couple of them onto Instagram, and I think it was maybe like my 9th or 10th video on Instagram of my weight loss. I'd probably only lost like £30 at the time, or 40, something like that there. It just went like crazy, and all of a sudden there's like hundreds and thousands of eyes on my page and my profile, and these people are like messaging me, and I'm like, okay, so I need to help these people now, and I want to help these people now. So I started pushing content that I thought would be helpful, and we've ended up where we've ended up now. So it was just, it all happened very, very quickly. I wasn't expecting the video go the way that it went at all. I never expected it to blow up basically the way that it did, but I think that's, everything unfolds in the way it's supposed to, and that's the way it was meant to happen. And I'm always so blessed to be in the position now that I'm in because of just one video. It's mad.
But you're doing something that's so organic and natural, and as I said before, you know, it's not, with you, it's not forced, and that's why I love it. I love that you post stuff that I know that I do, or it's just so relatable. And I actually hate using that word, because I feel like everything you see on social media is like, oh yeah, become like relatable, or be, you know, it just gives me the ick. But you are relatable, and that's why you do so well. Would you say on your, I see a lot of positivity with your page, which I love. So would you say that the audience reacted a lot more positively towards your content, or did you get like haters? Like, did people try to shame you through your journey?
Oh yeah, I mean, again, I think I don't attract a huge negative audience because
which is amazing.
I'm not a negative person. I don't know, this is just the way I think. I've been very blessed to attract such a beautiful community of people. You get your odd like hater in there, but it was when the initial video had went viral, majority of the comments were really nice, but like half of them were also like angry men in the comments, just like hating on me, and like, you know,
get a life.
You know, this little things like you haven't changed and all this kind of stuff, but none of the hate comments ever like literally budged me now. And even when I started, I was like, I don't really care what you think.
It didn't bother you.
I was like, no. And it's weird because at a time you could have said something like that to me and I would have completely stopped doing what I was doing. I would have shut it all off if someone had said one bad thing about the way that I looked, or my belly, or the fact that I had cellulite, whatever it might be. That would have like put me into my shell. Like I said, something just flipped in me and I was like, I don't care. Like, people need, like, I want to help these people. I want to help people that feel the way I feel. And honestly, the way I think of it now, if you have time to sit on your phone and comment something negative on my video, you're not my type of person anyways, so go ahead and do your thing. I'm going to just keep doing mine.
Mm-hmm.
And you clearly don't have enough going on in your own life if you feel the need to sit and chat shit about somebody on the internet. So,
and I guess you've got to try separate it as well, right? I think the easiest way to kind of go about it is you don't know these people.
yeah.
So why let it affect your energy?
Yeah.
And you're inspiring and attracting so much more positivity than you are like negative comments.
Yeah.
And it's always nice to say if you can inspire one person, like then you're doing a great job, but you're inspiring hundreds of people or even thousands of people. Like, so just keep doing you. People will always try dim somebody's light that's doing well.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't know why humans do this, but I think it's when, do you know what I always find with fitness or just weight loss in general or whatever? People will always try to put you down because they can't do it themselves. So even in kind of what I do, it's like if I'm on prep, people will always try to offer me food and they think it's funny because they want to see me cave in. Yeah, they're like, let's try get her to crack.
Yeah.
And they hate it when I don't.
Yeah.
And they try to put me down being like, you're so boring or it's only one bite and stuff like that. And it's like, you're just jealous because you can't do what I do.
Yeah.
Because it takes like actual mental strength and discipline to be able to be consistent and achieve your goals. And that's not even in just, you know, a weight loss journey or a fitness journey. That's in terms of success as well. It's like you posted every single day. And I know your intention wasn't to become an influencer, but that's the no days off mindset, you know, and that's why we wanted you here, because you then saw an opportunity and rolled with it as well. And I think it's great that you've taken something where you got genuine joy out of it and was like, you know, I want to now help other people and inspire them to be the best that they can be.
Oh my goodness.
Sorry if that cut out. Don't know where I was. But yeah, that was just me talking, being self-absorbed and talking about myself. So how do you cope with self-doubt?
So it's that idea of imposter syndrome, right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It is crazy. It's something I have to work on every single day. The fact that I own a business and I help people and people, you know, I help people on this journey and there's things I get to do now, like podcasts, and people want to hear me speak. It's like, what?
Me? Little old me,
it's like,
from Ireland.
Do you know what I mean? It's that idea of I don't deserve to be here, but I have to remind myself that there's always a reason as to why you're being asked to do these things. Or if you're sitting at a table, you're invited there for a reason. You have a voice, you have to speak. And it's going back and drawn back to the idea of I can't keep doubting myself. I can have my moments. We're all going to have our moments. We're human. I'm going to feel intimidated and I'm going to probably feel like an imposter in lots of situations. But so far I've had my own back for 2 years and it's worked out pretty well. And I have to keep reminding myself of what I've done so far and what I can keep continuing to do. So I can't keep self-doubting myself because I have to have my own back. I am with me 24/7. I'm the only person that is with me 24/7. I have to be my own best supporter at this point because for so long I wasn't, and I have to remind myself of when I'm doubting myself and when I get moments of I want to quit, I want to throw it all in. It's that idea of you can't quit because like my younger self's looking at me right now being like, girl, you're doing so good, like keep going. So I get the moments, I feel the feelings, but I know that I need to keep pushing on because there's more I need to do, there's more people I need to help, there's things that have to be done. It's just the idea of take a moment, write about it, journal about it. I'm a huge advocate for writing about your feelings, get that shit down, but keep in the back of your mind that if you can remove the idea of doubting yourself and change that into I can't do this to what if I can do this, like multitudes of things are possible for yourself. So I think it's just about how you deal with it and understand you're going to get self-doubt. Everyone gets it, no matter what industry you're in. But feel the feeling, write about it, but keep plucking on, don't you quit. That's my mindset. Just like, don't
Keep
quit.
plugging away.
Keep plugging away, even just a little bit, a tiny bit. I get days where I wake up and it's really weird because I'll doubt like my business and my coaching abilities and everything. Some days I feel like I'm on top of the world, and the next day I'm like, why does people even come to me? Do you know what I mean? How am I here? But then you have to go back to the idea of there's a reason why I'm doing what I'm doing, and I am making an impact. And give yourself credit as well. I think it's so easy for us to jump the gun on ourselves.
Gotta take the small wins.
Yeah, it's so easy to just pick apart every little thing that you're doing, but don't forget about everything that you've already done.
Yeah.
And like you said, take them small wins and celebrate them small wins, because your small wins is what add up to the big ones. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, taking it just one day at a time, as I like to say.
I think people don't feel like they've achieved things when they haven't achieved the final goal.
Yeah.
So they miss out everything in between, and that's where the lack of fulfillment comes from. And it's like, you need to celebrate every single day. You know, it's like, have I done what I needed to do today? Yes. So I'm not going to beat myself up about how I, you know, physically look or what the scale says. It's like, I did what I needed to do today. Let's pat on the back, because you're tired. You're trying to juggle a million things, and even just being able to say that you did it is an achievement.
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, give yourself a high five and get on with it. Like, you have to go through dirt
Yep.
to come out of the other side.
Yep.
So just, as you say, plug away and go
Yeah.
through the dirt.
Yep.
And one day you'll wake up and be like, how did I get here?
Yeah, I think it's like I have massive respect for individuals like yourself, like bodybuilding. Hats fucking off to you, because I could never do that. Like, I just know I wouldn't want to do that.
Yeah.
But I have massive respect for the things in which you do and the levels that you guys take
I
yourself.
know, we're all
yourself
mental,
to.
don't.
Do you know what I mean? I love it. But I wanted to create content for people that are like me, that we want to get into the gym, we want to get into, you know, lifting a little bit, exercising, moving our bodies. We also just like mightn't fully look like we train loads. Like, do you know what I mean? I wanted content out there that was the things I would have needed at the beginning of my journey.
100%.
Just to allow someone to have a different perspective on it. That it's okay if I don't want to have a six-pack, or it's okay if I don't want to actually lift weights. It's okay if you want to just go for a run or go for a walk. I kind of wanted it to be open. Let me open the floor to a multitude of people, that fitness isn't a one-size-fit-all. Do you know what I mean? And like you said, there's so many girls that want and train like a bodybuilder, but they don't want to be a bodybuilder. They
don't like the look of it.
They want the aesthetic of it.
Yeah.
But why do you want the aesthetic of it? It's like, do it for the right reasons. Do you know what I mean? Get into it, and what works for you. That's the thing when it comes to fitness.
But I just think you alleviate that pressure, which is fantastic. You stop the overthinking, and it's like young girls are going online being like, I have to look like this or I have to look like that, and all they're seeing is like plastic surgery or weight lift. I don't like saying the word like bodybuilders because whatever, but that's the content that's out there. So you're giving them someone that they can actually, like, you're giving them something to achieve to. What would you say, speaking about boss bitches, because we love that term in this generation, what would you say that culture is having like on young women today?
I think there's a really positive aspect to it. I know for me anyways, growing up, and a lot of young girls growing up, it can kind of be like, it's not natural to love yourself or step into your own power or be independent. And especially if you grow up, like I grew up in a very traditional household. Like my dad went to work, and like my mum was like at home with us, and that's the way the dynamic worked, and it's lovely and it's beautiful. But that's different for me now. I'm very hyper independent. I do everything by myself. I don't mean to say I'm not one of these people that's like, I don't need no man, but I actually don't need a man.
Yeah.
Like, I think there's such a positive element to it, because it's teaching women to be independent and do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? I think there's a really positive aspect to it, that women are now focusing on their career and what they want to do, and taking an approach to life of, well, what do I actually want for my life, and not what other people want me to do or what I'm expected to do. Change up the norm. Do you know what I mean? I love it. I love seeing women do their thing, get in the gym, like, you know, step into your feminine energy, your masculine energy, whatever it is.
Be whoever you want to be.
I love seeing it. I love seeing it all. I think there's a really positive spin on things now, and more of that's being pushed, and more women are becoming empowered and having that voice to do these things. So I'd say I love it. Like, I love seeing that whole, yeah, I'm a boss bitch, I can do my own thing. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, that's something I really admire, and something I think I'm stepping into. It can be hard to say that about yourself, like, you know, I'm a boss bitch. It can be hard to say that, but I think
You shouldn't whisper that. I'm
a boss bitch.
You need to say that.
It
You need
can be
to
hard.
emphasize it.
It can be hard to hold that energy for yourself, but yeah, I think there's definitely a positive movement, shall we say, going on in regards to that, and I'm here for it.
Yeah, no, I am definitely here for it. I think sometimes it can be portrayed in the wrong way, but when it's portrayed in the right way, you know, it's good to see a lot of women do what they like need to do, especially women like yourselves, as I say, where it's like it's true positive energy. The message is like on point, you know, it's empowering. It's like I just don't like seeing everything being provocative online, because I think there's more to women than us just being sexualized. And sometimes I feel that's what kind of fits in to can be what's misunderstood about, you know, a boss bitch. So it's like seeing a woman that just has got it down, and, you know, she's working hard, grinding, got her own thing, going to the gym, health's on check, skincare routine down to a T. You know, I applaud those women, because it's tough. What? How do we do it?
Women.
You go, girl. That's what I'm gonna say. So what message then, to kind of wrap this up, would you like to give out to the next generation of women?
Ooh,
I know, politics.
God damn. I have so much. Let me think. One thing I would want to say or advise.
Is the camera on?
Actually, give it time. It's gonna get better. Okay? It always does, and I always say this. It's always gonna end up okay. Like, it might still be a little bit crap, but at the end of the day, it's always okay. And give yourself time and be patient with yourself, especially if you're young, you're a teenager, and you're going through things. Your emotions are all heightened, you're hormonal, you've got things going on. Give it time and allow yourself to step into the person you're going to become, but also give yourself time to just be a teenager. And I wish if there's one thing I would have changed, it would be to take back the time that I spent wasting away in my youth, worried about the way that I look.
She says youth, and she's 22.
Sorry, my teenage years. Let me put it that way. That's one thing I would change, is the amount of time I gave to worrying about the way that I looked and trying to change it. I wish I just had been a teenager.
It's
Teenagery things,
and just stop worrying about what others think.
Yeah,
and just be you.
That's probably one thing I would change, and that's probably one thing I would say is just be a teenager. It's so hard growing up with this world of social media. You're comparing yourself to women, and you're a girl. You're comparing yourself to women who have matured, and you can be so easily influenced, and you want to look like the Kardashians or whoever it might be. Just be. I would just say literally just be, and be sure that you're following positive influences that will allow you to be and accept yourself as to who you are, and have the right people in your life. But yeah, that's probably my biggest piece of advice. Give yourself time and just literally just be a teenager.
I think it's so true as well, like what you say about being selective with the people you follow online.
I think that's so fine to do. Have a boundary for yourself. It's your feed, it's what you're seeing every single day. If someone is making you feel a certain type of way about yourself, unintentionally or intentionally, you have the right to unfollow them. And if you don't want to see them on your feed, that's so fine, because this is my area, this is where I click onto, and I want to try and keep it as positive and uplifting as I possibly can. And if someone's content or life on social media is allowing you to compare yourself and make you feel crap, remove it. People seem to feed into wanting to stay in that pattern of this person or their content makes me feel bad about myself, but I can't stop watching it. Take it away.
Like Beyonce, I ain't sorry.
Yeah.
You know, boy, bye. You honestly, you gotta spring clean all that stuff. Like people, as you said, people hold on to like friendships. Do you know how many friendships I had to get rid of because they just weren't like feeling my vibe?
Yeah.
They just didn't understand it, and I'm like, do you know what? I love you, but I love me more. So you got to go.
Yeah, I hear it.
Hasta la vista.
I think it's like you can still have, when it comes to relationships, and just as you, I always say, as you change, your relationship dynamics will change as well, because you're becoming a different person. So I'm a totally different person to what I am now.
I'm just gonna check this is still. Yeah, it's still.
I'm a totally different person now than I was 2 years ago. So I think differently, I act differently, I have different priorities. So my friendships and naturally my relationships will be different. The type of people that I want in my life are going to be different. And if we don't kind of click anymore and mesh on that level, that's okay. I still love you, but you're probably just not someone I'm going to want to have in my life. But that's okay, because that's the aspect of growing up and changing.
Success is definitely down to the people that you surround yourself with. So you have to be very, very selective. Like, and that can be like even family sometimes. But sometimes like I have to step away just to focus on myself, and that's okay. You know, it's not me saying that I'm gone forever, but allow me to do me, and then I'll come back, you know. So no, 100%, I love that, and I think you're inspiring loads of girls out there to do better and be you. So just keep doing what you're doing, girl.
Thank you.
So do you have any plugs that you wanted to throw out whilst we're
I mean, just come on my Instagram. We have a great time over there.
What's your Instagram handle for?
It's just Therese O'Callaghan, and if a sustainable, nice, healthy approach is what you're looking for, you can always hit me up for 1-to-1. So that's me.
Wow, fantastic. And also just to note that No Days Off now have their new luxe leggings on their website, so please be sure to check that out. Thank you for listening. Thank you for coming on here. We love obviously having you and having you part of the No Days Off fam. And make sure to follow all our socials. We will put the handles all below. Have a lovely day, and thank you for coming on and making it look easy.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.